guys, welcome to Fun&gun. Figured I'd go ahead and make this video because I found it kind of interesting myself here, and that is going to be the Radian Ramjet Afterburner kit versus an eBay comp and barrel assembly. So is the Radiant kit worth the money over just picking up something such as this? So we'll get into the cost after we go ahead and show you that this particular gun is unloaded, nothing in the magazine. Going to go ahead and set the magazine to the side. So let's get into the cost here. So this setup, which is a 9x19 barrel, this barrel is not the barrel I'm going to be talking about. It's going to be a stand-in for it, but I do have experience with the Aim Surplus barrel for my 320, so I do know that they actually work quite well. I have a full video on that called the Budget 320 Threaded Barrel. So if you're interested in checking out the quality of these barrels, I do have that video on my channel already. But let's go ahead and get into the price point here. That barrel comes in as a non-blend barrel for a Glock at $49.95. I actually picked up the one for that 320 there at around 40 bucks, shipped to my house. It was a blend version, so you can get them a little cheaper. And then this particular compensator on eBay is $25. And you're gonna need a recoil assembly with this particular setup, and it comes in at around 20 bucks because I actually had pretty bad luck getting this to cycle the factory Glock recoil assembly. So that is something you're gonna have to have. But even with all three parts there, before shipping and tax, that is roughly 100 bucks. So you can definitely come into something like this to give this a try for pretty cheap. And there is quite a few different eBay comp options on there. Now, when you get into the Radiant kit here, they do make three versions of it. They make one for a Gen 4, a Gen 3, and a Gen 5. They're all the same price, coming in at a staggering $390. So yeah, this kit is expensive. But is it worth it? We'll get into that later in the video. So that is coming in at, what is that, $290 difference between what you could have an eBay comp setup for with an Aim Surplus barrel. So we're going to kind of go over here, and I'm going to swap to the part of the video where I'm shooting this, and it's got a graph showing you kind of the muzzle rise that I got from just the barrel by itself, the eBay comp, and then the Radiant kit. And this is all using a factory Glock recoil assembly for a Glock 19. So let's go ahead and head to that part of the video here. Okay, first up is the control, which was 2 shots with no comp at all. As you do see in a few of these shots that the barrel does dip a little bit below the line I have on the screen, so the results aren't perfect. This is more of a redneck science thing, but it still gets the idea by kind of showing you that where the muzzle lands at here. And this is the eBay comp, and it was actually kind of disappointing to see this on the actual chart here because it really lands roughly in the same spot as not having a comp at all. But you can definitely feel the difference in your hand recoil-wise. Now, where this really starts to show a little bit difference here is when you put the Radiant kit on there, because not only does it come in quite a bit lower than the other results, it is also quite consistent. Okay. Like you heard me say there, this is more of a redneck science kind of thing here. It's not the most scientific thing ever, but it still gets the idea by. You could definitely tell in the chart there that the Radiant kit performs significantly better than this eBay comp, or especially the barrel without the comp on it at all. Now, I will say that comes down to a little bit of what comp you pick off eBay. I did pick this one specifically to use for this, that is because the Radiant kit is designed to be extremely flush to the front of the gun and small, and it takes a 19 length slide and kind of bumps it up to roughly the size of a 17. And we'll get into how it does that in just a second, but that's the reason I went with this specific comp, and that is because it is the smallest comp you can get just about off of eBay, but that also leads it to having a small port. But I was trying to keep it kind of roughly in the same size area as the comp that's on here. So that is how why I chose this one. But as you can see there, the Radiant kit, almost the entire top of it, minus the little piece in the middle, is part of the comp itself, while this one just has a little window on the top and 2 small windows on the side. Now, I will say that you can feel the difference in your hand a lot better shooting this comp than it shows on the chart, because it kind of shows there, like I mentioned, that the comp itself does not show much less muzzle rise than just the barrel by itself, but you can feel it in your hand. It does push down a little bit more on the front and gets the barrel down faster, and having the ports in the side, it does pull forward a little bit. So you can feel the difference in recoil in your hand. So figured I'd mention that because it doesn't show up that on the chart there. But also the way this mounts is you have 2 screws on the bottom where you thread this on, you clamp it where you want it. So that can be a bit of a pain, because when you go to mount this, you got to make sure it is level with the front of the gun, because if you don't, if you have it canted a little bit, when you fire, it's going to push down into whatever side you have that on. So, or you have it canted to, that is. So that can be a little bit of a pain, but not a big deal, especially for the price there. But we'll go ahead and get into how the Radian gets so close to the front of the barrel here, and that is because the fact that the Radian barrel is not threaded at all. It is actually part of the comp itself, actually. When I say that, that is the fact that the barrel is milled identical to the comp here. And you have a notch on the bottom, and your screw is a tapered pin as well. And the front of the slide here, the barrel is actually an oblong shape, has more of a point towards the top, and that corresponds with your comp and keeps it from being able to turn. And when you put the spring or the screw back in there, the tapered part of it corresponds with that notch in the bottom of the barrel there and locks it in place. And that is how they get away with making this comp as close to the slide as it is, because unlike this eBay comp, you have this whole portion right here that is dedicated to the fact that the barrel needs to be able to thread into it. This doesn't require that, so it lets it sit very close to the gun and still have some big ports on top of that. So I guess, is the Radian kit worth the extra money? I guess it really comes down to who the buyer is and if it's worth it to you. To me, yes, it is absolutely worth the price, because after shooting this gun with this comp on it, this is now my favorite 9mm pistol that I own, and I have some ported gun. I have a ported gun as well. This comp is awesome. And the fact that you can just drop this on pretty much any Glock 19. I don't know if they've came out with this for any other length of Glocks. I believe they're working on a 17 one. But the fact that you can just drop this on a 19, put the barrel in it, and more than likely it's going to run, to me, that's pretty darn cool. So, is it worth the price? To me, yes. To you, that's up to you. If you're just looking to try a comp on your gun, especially if you already have a threaded barrel, the eBay comp here, the nice thing about it is it doesn't have to just go on a Glock style gun. You can drop this on anything. Literally, you could put it on that 320 I showed you earlier, and it just clamps onto the end. So that is the nice thing about this, and it is definitely a lot more cost effective, and you do get a little bit of return for that price as well. So like I said, it's really up to you if it's worth the money. To me, it's worth the money. So that's all I had for you today. Okay, if you made it this far, I just want to say thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. If you're looking for more Fun and Gun right now, you can click one of the 2 recommended videos there. If you're looking for more Fun and Gun later, you can go ahead and click that there subscribe button. I sure would appreciate it. And if you're finding me from Facebook, go ahead and click that open app button at the top to make all that a lot easier, and I'll see you next time.